It's a new week, so that means we've got a new update on the rise. It's going to be here soon, guys, and today we're going to be taking a look at what you should expect in this week's very first Black Ops 4 massive update. Before we get any further into today's video, guys, make sure to hit that like button. Let's shoot for 500 plus likes on today's video. That'd be greatly appreciated. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, turn on post notifications, and with all that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at why we're going to be talking about what is to come in this week's update. So on October 24th on Reddit and the Black Ops 4 subreddit, there was a post made, which is obviously last Wednesday, the 24th of October, was made about a kind of like a patch that they put out. It was like it was an update. It was a relatively big update. There was a lot of different things that had to do with the score streaks, the gear, the maps, the critic class, blackout, a whole bunch of different things, zombies even, that they kind of fine-tuned a couple of things. But in the top of the post, they say that hinted at the big update, the big banger update that is to come, that's really going to change the meta and fix a lot of the things that we're concerned about in the game the following week, which obviously now we're sitting at the beginning of this week that they said the update is going to come out on. So this is what they say. They say the team is also working hard on the next major update to the game, currently planned to go live next week. This update will include our very first major multiplayer weapons tuning pass based on all of the data collected since launch, improvements to the audio system in Blackout, and lots more. Stay tuned for more details as we get closer to the release of this update. So we're kind of waiting on those more details, and we're obviously waiting for the actual update, but this is what you can expect to see in this week's major update, and it's going to be good, I can almost guarantee. So obviously they told us two major things that they're going to be tackling in this update, the first being weapons tuning and the second being audio issues in Blackout. So we're not going to be talking about Blackout too much. I'm just going to address it very briefly. Basically what they're referring to is there are a lot of audio issues, especially when it comes to close quarters in Blackout, and they're just going to be adjusting it to make it more realistic and fix some of those major audio complaints that people are having. And I think they're also doing some other things in Blackout. One of the big updates that is already out is they actually nerfed the 9-bang in Blackout, so now we're hoping that gets transferred to multiplayer. But regardless, guys, we're going to be taking a look at what to expect. So the first thing is that I want to hit on is the thing that they've mentioned. Obviously we know this is going to be in the update because they've clearly said it, and that is the weapons tuning. So in this update we can expect a lot of changes to the meta, and I'm really excited for it, but at the same time I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit nervous to see exactly what they do. I hope they're very, very in tune with the community and what we've been saying. And at the same time, they have to be realistic with what they do. They can't just take a weapon and completely like slaughter it, cut it in half, and make it unusable. And they also don't want to make too many buffs where the weapon categories just get completely thrown out of balance. So they have to be very careful with that. I think that's something that people let their frustrations overcome their judgment in. When it comes to Call of Duty, they're like, oh, nerf this or just buff the hell out of this, and just come on, we need to make these much more powerful, when in reality maybe those weapons don't need as big of a buff as previously thought. So we're gonna be talking about that first, weapon nerfs. First off, LMGs will most likely receive some kind of nerf. Obviously right now they don't have flinch, and there's weapons that stand out, especially like the Titan, and attachments on these weapons such as the thermal sight that make these weapons laser beams, and they definitely need to be nerfed. LMGs, especially when aiming down sight, need to have flinch. They need to be less of laser beams. I'm sorry, but when you put somebody on a head glitch with an LMG, they're practically like a stationary turret. There's zero recoil, the damage is extremely high, and they're just very, very difficult to compete against. And especially if they have that thermal sight on, I call it the target finder, because it's basically the target finder, let's be real. So I think that they need to severely, not severely, I guess, like I already said, they shouldn't be making massive changes, but they definitely need to fine-tune a nerf in there and give these weapons a bit of nerf when it comes to flinch. Another weapon that has been kind of a meme the last couple of weeks is the ICR. The ICR is definitely one of the most dominant weapons in the game. It's extremely powerful and by far is the best AR. It's extremely laser beam-like and has zero recoil. We actually did a video, and in the video on how to improve your aim, we featured the ICR, and when you you have grip on that weapon, and especially if you have a reticle on it, it doesn't like move at all. If you shoot at a wall, it leaves a single bullet print in the wall. Like there's literally just one bullet hole. So if you were to shoot that gun in real life, after you shot that bullet, all the following bullets would go through the same exact hole. It's ridiculous. It has like no recoil whatsoever, so it needs to be adjusted slightly for sure. Whether it be vertical or horizontal recoil, they need to do something. I've heard people complain about shotguns. There's two different things about shotguns that they need to change, apparently. I don't know if I agree too much with these. I personally haven't experienced them, but I've heard a lot of the community talk about it, and that's the full choke attachment, which obviously increases the range for shotguns, and the range needs to be reduced probably a little bit. It just seems to be a little bit out of whack from what I've seen. And then also the operating mod, the light operating mod needs to be like toned down. The light should not be that bright. It's like getting blinded. It's ridiculous. I've seen it in videos, and also I've experienced it like 2 or 3 times, and it's actually blinding. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. And something else that I think I want to throw in there is dark matter. I think that they need to turn the brightness or like the saturation of the dark matter down just a little bit. The radius of the glow needs to be just reduced ever so slightly. Like it's a little bit of overkill, to be honest, where it's almost distracting, to be honest. So definitely some nerfs in the camos would be nice as well. And then finally, SMGs are most likely going to receive a buff, because when competing against assault rifles, even in close quarter combat, they are almost irrelevant. Like obviously they're still decent, like they're not like unusable, but they definitely don't perform the way they should. And especially in those close quarter situations where SMGs should be dominant over an assault rifle, it's very difficult to win gunfights, and a lot of times with someone going, you know, with an ICR or a Vapor. So SMGs, they don't need a massive buff, and this is the way I think they should do it. I think they should do like the slightest buff to the SMGs. Very, very slight. Because what happens is when they do these big buffs where they really drastically change the meta of a certain category of weapon, and then realize that it's too much and they become overpowered, and then they have to nerf them, it just kind of throws everybody out of whack, and kind of everybody loses their sight of what the weapon should really be performing as, or what it should be like. So they need to just make very small incremental changes to these weapons, and I think it's easier to slowly go up until you meet the perfect level of, you know, fine tuning, rather than overkilling it and having to backtrack. So that's a big like psychological thing I think they need to work on. They shouldn't be doing these massive changes to meta. The SMG buff doesn't need to be as big, I don't think, as a lot of people think it does. So just a small change to the SMGs would be nice. Next up, we need to see a change to the dog. So I don't know, I haven't seen it like clarified anywhere, but I think that there has been a change to the dog. I don't know entirely, but playing recently, it seems like the dog hasn't been as big of an issue. However, they need to reduce the dog HP or the speed, one or the other. Personally, I think that the speed would be a little bit more reasonable, just because the HP, like, you don't want to make this dog unusable. So there's got to be a point to using it when you get it. It needs to be able to get kills, and it needs to be evened out with like all the other lethal specialists. So you don't want to like make it so that 2 people shoot at it and it's dead instantly. You need to have an HP that is strong enough to withstand several people shooting at it for just a little bit, and also like if it's going to take small amount of damage as it runs around the map from different people shooting at it just a little bit, you don't want it to die super quickly. So like I think having the speed being reduced a little bit would be more balanced than the actual health being reduced, or maybe a little bit of both could do well, but definitely the dog needs something done to it. Next up, and probably most importantly on the list, is the 9-bang. We're probably going to be seeing a change done to the 9-bang, whether it be the radius of it, whether it be the brightness, how bright like your screen gets when you're 9-banged, or the functionality level. And that's probably what's going to be changed, and I think that would be the best move, is that when you get 9-banged, you literally can't do anything. You can't crouch, you can't like hardly move, you can't shoot, or you can shoot, but it's like obviously you can't aim down sights or anything. You got your arm up, you can't reload, you can't really do anything. There's very minimal functionality that you have once you're 9-banged, and also it lasts so long. I'm not even kidding, and I'm sure this can relate to you guys as well, or be very very relatable. When you get 9-banged, I set my controller down like on my lap and just stand there. There's no point in trying to hide because I can't see where I am. It lasts too long to the point where there's no way the enemy's not gonna kill me, and also I can't do anything. It's not like I can shoot back or anything. Like I can't hide or anything. It's very, very, very difficult to do anything or compete against it. They need to do something to it, whether it be one of those 3 major categories that I've listed. One of those need to be done. So definitely let me know your thoughts and opinions on the 9-bang down below, guys. Like, yeah, God, it's so frustrating. But next up we have the riot shield. The riot shield also needs to have something done to it, whether it be being able to shoot through that small window that's on the front of the riot shield, because right now it's so difficult. You can't compete against it. You can't shoot or kill that guy. Literally, you just have to run away unless you're like behind him. If you're in front of him, it's game over because you're just not going to get past him, and he's going to kill you because he can shoot right through that window. If you have good aim and you're able to shoot that through that small window, you need to be rewarded by being able to do so. And then also, you could always have the length of the riot shield specialist reduced too. So like it lasts a decent amount of time as well, which is kind of frustrating. And the third thing that you could do is make the shield breakable. So give the shield like a certain amount of HP, and remember, you have to remember once again, like typically when you're using the riot shield, a lot of people are shooting at it and they're shooting at it very quickly, and think about how quickly you kill somebody that has 200 HP. So my point being is like maybe give the shield 1000 HP. It's not as much as you think. It really isn't when you got 3 people shooting at it like non-stop, or like from a distance people shooting at it. I think that having the shield have a certain amount of HP to the point where it breaks and like it's a breakable shield would be like justifiable. I think that would be a good nerf as well. And then finally, I think we're going to see adjustments made to the spawns. Spawns need reworking. They're honestly really broken right now. There's so many different spawn traps and like situations where you'll get stuck and you literally can't move out of your spawns. There definitely needs to be spawn adjustments. Even though they said that these spawns were where they wanted them, they need to be changed. So that's the last thing I think they're going to be adjusting ever so slightly. But other than that, I think this update is going to be fantastic for the game. I think it's going to really put the game in a better shape than it already is. And a lot of people will probably walk away from this update happy. But regardless, those are some major things that you can expect from this update. Of course, we'll be updating you as soon as the update goes live on Tuesday or Friday. I don't know which day it's going to go live yet. We're expecting some kind of update either later today or sometime tomorrow if it doesn't go live tomorrow. So we'll have to wait and see. You can expect an update with everything that the update includes here on the Carnage channel first, right as soon as the update goes live. So make sure you subscribe with post notifications turned on. Without further ado, hopefully you're having a fantastic day, and we'll talk to you all in the next one.